From the trifecta lifestyle to paper residence to back pocket strategies, we have coined a number of terms here at Nomad Capitalist over the years that speak to my own unique experiences, not only traveling the world, but being a consumer of lower tax strategies, residence and citizenship, and investments all around the world. And so today, I'm going to take you back through 8 different Nomad Capitalist isms that you should know. Hi, I'm Andrew Henderson. Here at Nomad Capitalist, we help 7- and 8-figure entrepreneurs and investors legally go where you're treated best. You can learn more at nomadcapitalist.com. Today, we're going to talk about some of the terms that you may hear us using on this channel. And you might be wondering, what exactly is he talking about? And this is a great way, hopefully, for you to understand a bit more about all of our philosophies. You might have heard some of these terms, but I want to go through all of them. And we want to start with the idea of planting flags. This was not originally my idea, but we have hopefully adapted it to the 21st century here at Nomad Capitalist. This is the idea that we want to diversify. What I have said is treat the world as your buffet. As you see more and more countries that are competing for business, competing for jobs, competing to have people living there, you see countries, even in places like Europe, which are deemed not to be low tax, they are lowering their tax rates. They want you to go there. And I have said that you, with so many options, are not going to find one great panacea anymore. You're not going to find the next America or even the next Singapore, but you can go and you can cherry pick each of the things that you want. And anytime you go and you open a bank account somewhere, or put your crypto wallet in a safe deposit box in a private vault in some other country, or get a residence permit, get a citizenship, buy a property, invest in a REIT somewhere, you are planting a flag in that country. And so certainly, more flags means more freedom, means more options. Many countries restrict where their residents, where their citizens can invest. And so by planting flags, you can expand your options. More citizenships means more travel opportunities, more assurances that if one country goes crazy, you won't have to deal with that. So that's the idea of planting flags. Now, the second strategy, or the second term that we have coined, is the idea of a holistic plan. I see more and more people talking about this and even using that wording now. But I devised the idea of a holistic plan because I realized that so many people in this industry historically, people who don't show their face, who don't use their real name, people who are, faceless law firms in some far-flung country, they are selling you one particular strategy. So they will sell you an offshore company, for example. You go online, you look at ads, you want to buy a company in Belize or the UAE or whatever. But what nobody really tells you is it's not going to do you much good to have a UAE free trade zone company for lowering your taxes if you still live in Canada, because there's all kinds of tax rules which have become much more sophisticated. What we do here is not about hiding your money. It's not about hiding out from the government. It is about being transparent, but simply going where you're treated best. And so, some of the strategies that are still promoted in this business are from people who still live in the Wolf of Wall Street days in the 80s, where you just set up a company and you hide your money and nobody knows you own it, and you use some nominee director and it's all in the Marshall Islands. It just doesn't work anymore. And so a holistic plan means you want to have your finances match up with your residence and your citizenship and your lifestyle, match up with your investments. Those things can all work together. An investment you make can help you get a second residence or get a second citizenship. A second citizenship can help your tax plan. Where you bank can help you, with your lifestyle. And so all these things need to be taken into consideration, not just from a strategic point of view, but from a human point of view. You want to have a nice, normal, productive, happy life. So holistic plan, very important. The third term that we've introduced is the idea of a nomad base. This is a place where you actually spend some time, you have some kind of connection there. Not a bank account, but perhaps you own a piece of property. Perhaps you own a business there and you spend 3 or 4 months a year. This is a place where you maintain a home, whether rented or owned. And so it's a place where you spend part of your time. If you want to be living in one country, you can do that. But many of us, we like the idea of, again, cherry picking. We get some of Latin America every year. We get some of Europe. We get some of Asia. I made a video where I talked about if I could only live in 3 countries and each of them was in a different part of the world, because I want to be able to travel between those different benefits. And so a base is somewhere where you have a home, whether it's rented or owned, and you can go and spend time. The fourth term is a focus city. Focus city is a place where you know your way around. Perhaps you've been there frequently. For me, this is places like a Hong Kong, like a Dublin, Panama City perhaps, Mexico City. and others, where I know my way, I can take you, I can show you all around, I know where to go, I know where to get certain things done. Perhaps I have some flags planted there, but not a home. And so focus cities, borrowing it from airline terminology, it's a place that's not a hub. Hub is where you maintain a base of operations, where you store your clothing in the closet. That's the Nomad base. The focus city is you know your way around, you can do business there, but it's not at the base level. Now, what do you do with bases and focus cities? That's where our fifth term comes in, the trifecta. A couple years ago, I coined the idea of the trifecta lifestyle, where you carve up your year into 3 equal or relatively equal parts, and you spend your time 1/3 in Mexico, 1/3 in Portugal, 1/3 in Thailand, for example. And potentially those would be nomad base cities. They don't have to be, but probably easier if they are. And you could have all your stuff in the closet if it's a base city, and you could just go there and you knew your way around. And from your base in Thailand, you might want to go and check out Malaysia, or check out your money in Singapore, or go and make an investment in Cambodia, or relax in Luang Prabang in Laos. And so you can kind of carve up your year, and that's a somewhat effective tax planning tool. It's one part of tax planning. It happens to be high tax or low tax, the way that I'd like to live my life. But for some people, it does work as a tax planning strategy as well as just a lifestyle strategy. And so we've talked about the modified trifecta since then, where maybe you want to do 5-3-4 kind of thing, or 6-3-3 or something like that. Obviously taxes do come into play there, but the trifecta was the idea of distributing your life between 3 bases and getting the best of all worlds from a personal lifestyle perspective. Now let's talk about the actual strategy side of things. You may have heard some of these terms. Number 6, Plan B. Okay, when I decided to leave the United States a number of years ago and travel around the world, that became my Plan A, right? I was interested in reducing my tax. I was interested in the social and personal benefits of traveling around the world and meeting people in other countries. And I was, planting flags in some of these places, whether it was real estate, banking, whatever the case may be, gold, residence. And so, for me, Plan A was more important than Plan B. Now we talk a lot more about Plan B, which is you don't want to leave your country, but you want that second citizenship just in case. You don't want to give up your citizenship, but you want to have a place where you can go. Plan B is what happens if things go badly. And so, as I've been successful, as we've worked with a lot of successful people, from young entrepreneurs to people with a lot of money, I've seen that Plan B is increasingly important, and I've built my Plan B. What happens? Redundancies upon redundancies upon redundancies. You can take it as far as you want. You don't have to take it as far as I have, but a Plan B is effective. Number 7 is the concept of paper residence. This can be part of a Plan B. Paper residence. What is that? You might have heard us use that term. This is where you go and establish a residence permit. You get a residence permit in a country that does not require you to live there as a legal condition of eventually becoming a citizen. So if you look at, again, the United States, for example, if you get a green card and you live in the United States and you learn English and you go and pass a test on U.S. history, you can become a naturalized citizen. So people are familiar with the concept of naturalization by and large. But what if you could be naturalized without having to spend 9 or 10 months a year there, right? What if you didn't learn the language? And what if you got it merely by, rather than going and living there, you put $25,000 in the bank, or you hired somebody, or you did whatever activity that country is looking to incentivize, and they have not developed their laws to be as strict to where you can go and get this residence on paper. You can keep that paper with you, but you don't actually have to live there. And so it's paper because you're not putting in the actual time on the ground. They have not created a law that says you must be here X number of days. Those programs don't always last forever. Eventually they change the laws in some cases, but that's why we don't talk about specific countries that much. But paper residence, you can become a citizen not in 6 months, but 3 years, 5 years, whatever it may be, without having to spend much, if any, time there. And so the last term that we've introduced rather recently, number 8, is what I call back pocket, your back pocket strategy, or a back pocket residence, where you can create what we've also called tunnels. That's another term, tunnels, where let's say I go to a country and I can open a bank account with $1,000. I did this many, many, many years ago in Singapore. Now, if you want to have a bank account in Singapore with all the quality and service that comes with Singapore, it costs you multi-6 figures. Now, I would still be happy to do that today, but imagine that you weren't happy to do that. You'd be happy you got in at the $1,000 level, and they still let you keep that account because you were grandfathered in. That's what we call building a tunnel. And so what we've adapted that to recently, tunnels for bank accounts, back pocket for residences, because a tunnel with your banking is, you just have these different tunnels, you can go and access that money. Back pocket residence is basically saying, I've already got my plan A if I need one. I've already got my plan B. Back pocket is, all right, what else can I get? We've talked about the idea of if you're living in the United States, you may have a second residence or citizenship somewhere else, but maybe you want to get Mexican residence. It's just next door. Theoretically, you could walk over if something happened, or if you needed to get into a place where you had more options. And so being a resident or being a permanent resident or being a citizen of Mexico would make it easier for you to do that. And so back pocket is, how can I, with a low cost of operation and very low lifestyle change cost, obtain residences in other places? So where it could be a paper residence. Paper residence leads to citizenship, whereas a back pocket option really generally wouldn't. So it could be an Asian country where you just put some money in the bank and they give you residence. Could be a Central American country where you could become a citizen, but only if you spent time there. And so you could also call it a call option. We've used that term in the past as well, where you have the residence permit. If you want to use it, you can at any time. You can go to the country, you can live in the country. If you want to live in the country, you can turn in that call option and claim your citizenship then, but not until you spend some time there. So you've got a lot of flexibility with tunnels for banking, back pocket residences for additional kind of redundant residences, for call options. Those are residences that could become citizenship in the future, not like a paper residence where you don't have to live there. It's just all on paper for citizenship, but a call option would be one that you execute only if you want it. Those are more than 8 actually, terms that we have coined over the years, how to use them. Hopefully by knowing the terms, now you can implement more productive strategies in your life and create that holistic plan. If you want to learn more about how we do that for folks, you can go to nomadcapitalist.com. How can Nomad Capitalist help you? 4 ways. Number 1, subscribe to our channel and click the notification bell to make sure you get our new video every day. Number 2, get a copy of Nomad Capitalist, the book. You'll learn a lot of my personal experiences over a dozen years of studying this stuff, as well as exactly some of the strategies that you can use to build your Nomad Capitalist plan. Number 3, if you're not sure where to start, but you want to come and learn from my team and I, you want to come and mingle with like-minded people, learn more about our live conference, Nomad Capitalist Live. It's coming up soon. And number 4, if you want some help right now because you've got a burning issue, you need something solved, you want to lower your taxes, get a second passport, or build the Nomad Capitalist lifestyle of your dreams, go to nomadcapitalist.com and click on Become a Client.